Pukeko chick has strayed from the nest, but a watchful adult is nearby. A Pukeko chick survives, a heron chick goes hungry. Pukekos breed communally, so there's usually a helpful relative nearby to run off would-be predators and shepherd a straying chick back to the safety of the nest. The heavy rain has dampened down activity in the heron colony. Quarrels are suspended, and those that can simply sit it out. Nesting birds protect their chicks against the killing cold. One stands guard while its mate broods their chick. Conserving energy, they wait the deluge out. Only the shags, diving for their dinner, seem untroubled by the flood. High above, the nor'wester engages the mountains. This interaction is what creates the nor'wester's special character. The mountains strip the nor'wester's water from its wind, and they, in their turn, are shaped by the nor'wester. The lower slopes are washed by rain. Above, it's ice that sweeps the valleys clear. The glaciers are fed by the 30 meters of snow that fall on the high tops each year when the nor'wester blows. The massive snowfalls push the glaciers far down the slopes before they melt. Tongues of ice thrusting out of the mountains as though to taste the sea. The glaciers reach to within 300 meters above sea level, lower than anywhere else in the world at these latitudes, all due to the nor'wester. Today, more snow from the nor'wester will help them on their way. The gathering clouds foreshadow the coming snowfall. The wind is here already, whipping loose snow from the surface as though to clear the way for more. The mountains are a turning point for the nor'wester, a white line that divides its two contrasting faces, separating west from east by climate as well as by geography. Now the west coast is already under the nor'wester's influence, blanketed in cloud. On the east, the nor'wester will show another side of its complex character. High above the main divide, the nor'wester will flow smoothly, sweeping the high cirrus with it. The wind will pour over the crest and cascade down the eastern slopes, warming up as it descends. It will rebound, forming a series of waves of air, and then travel on across the island. On the east, a very different landscape has been shaped by the nor'wester. Dry tussock grassland replaces the wetlands beyond the mountains. The first sign of the nor'wester here is the same as on the west coast, the steady onward march of the high cirrus clouds overhead. Then, at the crest of the divide, the cumulus that has piled up on the west coast begins to spill over. Only a trickle at first, it becomes a tumbling cascade of cloud. A rising flood of cloud mounts slowly to engulf the mountains. blows on the tops, sometimes reaching 230 kilometers an hour. Snow, rain, wind make the alpine herb fields on the eastern flanks a harsh and hostile place when the nor'wester blows. All the plants that find a foothold here must adapt to its demands. The fragile appearance of a Mount Cook lily is deceptive. Its leaves are protected by a thick, waxy coating, and its flexible stems will bend but not break before the nor'wester. Here, below the snow line, the clouds release the last of their rain. Now the nor'wester is changing, transformed by its passage across the Alps. It's 2,000 meters from peaks to plains, and the wind warms 1 degree for every 100 meters it descends. And that's not all. As it careers headlong down the steep slopes, the nor'wester compresses the air below it, and the compression heats it up still more. Warm air can hold much more water, so the rain stops abruptly. Suddenly, the wind of contrasts is transformed. The nor'wester that blows on across the east is now a hot, dry wind. The last rain is left hanging like a curtain across the high country valleys. Where the curtain falls, the terraces are furred with forest. But it's very different from the rich rainforest on the west. A dense, uniform canopy of mountain beech closes ranks against the nor'wester that ricochets from slope to slope. Its sudden gusts and squalls, like a fist, can flatten the forest in random patches. But the forest has learned to live with the nor'wester. The wind's devastation is put to good use. It opens a window of light in the dark canopy, and sheltered amongst the stumps below, seedlings grow and thrive. New trees replace the old, keeping the forest young. Their small, tough leaves are well adapted to withstand the wind's battering. The forest once covered most of the flatland in the east, but the hot wind dried the trees to tinder, and when lightning sparked a forest fire, the nor'wester fanned the flames. Now the trees remain only at the mountain's flanks, where rain still falls. Under the clear skies further east, the tussock alone stands tall. Clouds still form on the east, but they hold their moisture out of reach. Only their shadows fall on the arid eastern hills of the high country. The rivers that drain the mountains see both faces of the nor'wester. Their headwaters lie behind the wall of rain. Their courses sprawl across wide braided beds, carrying the water that the wind left in the mountains down to the thirsty plains. Dried by the wind, the riverbeds turn to dust. The nor'wester hurls it down the valleys, sand-blasting shrubs and stones alike. Glacial lakes extend cold fingers out from the mountains. Their chilly waters reflect the nor'wester's advance across the sky and wait unruffled for the wind to reach them. It's not long coming. The nor'wester swirls down the lakes, dragging the dust storms with it. The wind-lashed water takes ducks for a bumpy ride. And lakes are turned into choppy seas. In the high country basins, pines introduced by settlers to shelter their homesteads create a dust storm of their own. The nor'wester shakes the pollen from the male catkins and speeds it on its way to find the female flowers. The fruits of last year's flowering, ripe pine cones respond to the nor'wester's warmth, opening their faces to the heat. Winged seeds are freed to ride the wind. The dry climate that defeated the beech forest suits the pines. Encouraged by the boisterous wind, some break loose from the plantation and spread their dark blots on the landscape. The tawny beauty of the high country that the nor'wester helped create, it now threatens to destroy by helping the alien pines to colonize the open tussock land.